Well, thank you very much, Marco. Welcome, everybody. I'm very happy to be here today. And as I was told yesterday again and again that I just have 10 minutes, we should just start and jump into it. Now, that Deutsche Bank has been invited for the third time to this conference sets one signal, and that is that our industry is clearly changing and that digitalization is one key aspect of the future banking industry. And as you all know, banks already face two immediate challenges. One is the low interest rate environment. Secondly, it is clearly the increased regulation. But most of all is digitalization. And if you look into the various aspects of consultants, of assessments and studies, one is saying if you don't get it right, 30% of the revenue pool which banks currently have will be at risk in 2020 if we don't get digitalization right. So my guess for the next 5 to 10 years, though it's always pretty hard to assess the future of the banking industry, are basically three issues. Number one, given digitalization, we will see a wave of consolidation, in particular in the European banking industry. Why? Scale is everything. It's just scale, in particular in the retail and the mass, but also in the commercial banking industry, which counts in order to get efficient. Number two, we will see a shift of activities among the financial service providers. And what I mean is that for the first time, you see, for instance, asset managers building their own robo-advice, and what they are doing at the end of the day, they take immediately the direct approach to the end client, to the retail clients. So a new competition for the traditional bank. And number three, further increasing the competition is clearly the technology and internet corporations like the Googles emerging as our new key competitors. And new laws like PSD2 will make it happen that next to traditional banks, asset managers joining the platform, but in particular also the internet giants. So at the end of the day, or as a result, I believe the banking industry has only one chance, and that is to become a real platform economy, in which digitalization and innovation is key to success. And next to that, and that's our big advantage, we need to understand the client. And again here, digitalization is key. If we really get the data right, if we really understand the data, we have a far better understanding of the client, and again, we can set milestones. So what does it mean? Will banks, in particular traditional banks, be kind of the downfall going forward? Partially, part of them, yes. We in Deutsche Bank see a real chance to win for the first time, in particular in the home market share. Digitalization will enable us actually to move the market share from, in particular in the retail client area, not only with Postbank, to new areas and to new highs, because, as I said before, scale is key. And how do we do this? We have a slide on this one, and you see on the x-axis that we actually do it by modernizing our existing product scale. What we are doing is digitalizing our traditional products and become the digital house bank. That's important that the traditional products which we offered in a branch, in advisory centers, are exactly offered to the clients the same way, but also in a digital way. And secondly, in the y-axis, it's something new, which banks have not tried before, and we call it beyond banking. We are expanding our value chain to new products which have not been part of the traditional banking products shelf so far. And again, digitalization will bring us there. And why is that? And to be very honest, we learned from others. We learned from others who have actually used platform economies to disrupt industries and to think about new ways how to make money. And if I think about Uber and Airbnb, it actually gives me and tells me a story also for banks. What do these two have in common? They go from an ownership of infrastructure to ownership of customers and clients. And far more important, from control of internal resources to orchestrating external partners. At the end of the day, Uber owns no cars, Airbnb no beds. And if you really think about a beyond banking exercise, you can even think about that a pure digital bank may have no or far fewer less balance sheet going forward. It will be a marketplace. And in this regard, for us, in order to get there, cooperation is key. Modernizing our existing value chain, the traditional products into digital products, as well as I just said, expanding into new areas. And for that, we do this with external partners, and in particular, fintechs. And I'm sure some of them are here among us. And I have to say, I was asked just at the start whether this is a competition. Well, it's a competition, but also cooperation. We work with fintechs in order to get products digitalized, and we do it in a way that is faster, within the budget, and more timely than ever before. And I would even say we as Deutsche Bank wouldn't have been able to build this track record of new digital products without the support and the cooperation of fintechs in the past. The last 3 years have really shown us this is the way to go. I'll just give you some examples. In order to be the digital house bank, you need the foundation, which is nothing else as one product, multi-banking. You can have on your phone everything what you need for your day-to-day banking. And what people still think for the advisory, for the normal business where you need the branch, yes, you can go to the branch, but we have like a DPM, which is nothing else than a digital advisory product, also digitally offered, which again tells you we can also go from an advisory point of view into digital banking. And there is more, and that is beyond banking. Now, this is one product where, again, we think, in particular as Europeans, we finally have to catch up, in particular with the Silicon Valley and with the giants there. The Silicon Valley giants have strong presence, in particular with consumers. And in our view, it's high time for the Europeans to catch up and exploit their strengths in the online world too. And one important step has been set in May. Deutsche Bank, in alliance with other German corporates, have actually entered this joint platform with a new digital, and that is a digital identity, payment, and service platform. What we try to do is actually nothing else than for the end customer and for the retail customers, we want to play a role in the daily lives where we offer them the full access to digital platforms with one go, and thereby we try to do one thing, increase the loyalty at the end of the day also to Deutsche Bank. So in other words, what we are doing is improving our own offering in the traditional banking, but at the same time, we transform the business into a more technology company. How do we do this? As I said before, we can't do it by ourselves, but we can't just also do it only with fintechs, and therefore we have a variety, and I think a state-of-the-art research and development course on this. We have innovation labs in Berlin, in London, in New York, Silicon Valley, and they are actually conducting nothing else than the basic research. The first products which we develop there are then tested in a live environment. For instance, in one of the branches we have here in Berlin, in particular for startup companies, for young entrepreneurs, which is one of the most modern European branches, which is here in Berlin. In order to get more technical expertise, we're working with the MIT in Boston, and again, in a pragmatic way, together with the Axel plug-and-play accelerator, we are then testing it in a live environment. And last but not least, production of all is very, very key, and that we are doing in our digital factory, which we opened last year in September with 400 people. We will expand it to 800 people in order to have a constant stream of new products self-produced in our factory. Let me summarize our approach in 4 messages. As a universal bank, I think we are in an excellent position, and because of the digitalization, to finally also gain market share domestically. We started this journey 3 years ago. I think we brought a whole range of products, in particular in the traditional banking, and now we go one step forward. We go into beyond banking to increase the revenue pools, which we haven't tapped before. And in this regard, and that was one of the key reasons, we decided to integrate the German retail business of Deutsche Bank with Postbank. We have 20 million clients. Out of these 20 million, 11 million are digital clients. It is exactly the scale I was talking about. And taking this strength in innovation, but also using the cooperation with all the external partners, I think we get there where we want to be, and that is a leader in digital banking, and by that gain market share. Thanks a lot, and have a nice day.